I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
You're listening to Saucepans and Sidesteps.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the, I forgot what it is, Saucepans and Sidesteps.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's one of them. It's one of them. We've been off for a while, so forgive us.
It's like when you come back after Christmas and you come back to work and you're like, what do I do again? And you don't want to ask anybody because then you might get sacked. But you're like, I can't remember what my job is. I'm just going to be honest.
Well, I think we've all learned something very, very new about Huw today, but okay. Joined by Mr. Huw Griffin. Good evening, my friend. How are we?
I'm all right. I think I'm coming down with something. In my line of work, Mark, you listen to your own voice quite a lot, whether you like it or not. And I've noticed that the sound of my voice has changed, which either suggests that I'm finally becoming a real boy or I'm coming down with something.
Sound of your voice has changed. That's... I don't know, but... I think it's changing of the seasons, isn't it? You know, I'm all up with the flu in case you hear a sniffle or two. Pre-warn.
It might just be hay fever. I might just be in a big girl's blouse. Did you get up to anything at the weekend?
What was the weekend? Yeah, kids are off school, so we visited some family. That was fun. That was about it. Yeah, nothing major to talk about. So, like we said, it has been a couple of weeks since we've been on. Was it a game before we left there? I can't quite remember.
When did we leave it?
2 weeks? 2 weeks?
Was there a game 2 weeks ago?
I don't think it's one that counts.
Not one that counts. Might have been a friendly.
Yeah. I'm sure the boys... Okay, all seriousness, we did have that little round of 16 fixture against the most local professional team to us, and didn't go as well as the first exchange between these two in this doubleheader. So the way I'm looking at it, we obviously targeted the league. You could see we went all out for the league. They targeted Europe, and I'm not sure if that was the right call by them, but I could understand the fact that they would have a home quarterfinal and then a home semi-final. So
that was the plan.
That was the plan, but yeah, things go awry. Yeah, so if we look at that game, you know, basically mirror image scoreline, really weren't that much in it, sadly. It seems very much what we saw against Zebra early in the season. We had a massive win emotionally against the Bulls, and then we just couldn't get up. We couldn't get up for Zebra, and we were like sort of going through the motions, and it seemed very much the same. At least it did for me watching. And they, obviously, we were behind like 31-7 at half time. So, dreadful that. But there was moments early in the second, I think, when Marnus didn't, I can't remember if he was held up or he just didn't make the line. And it seemed like a massive moment in the game. Not saying we would have come back into it and got the victory, but it seemed as though any chance of us actually going forward and making it into a more even contest kind of died at that moment, and the boys felt it too. So, yeah, I don't know what you thought about the match.
Well, yeah. So I think the alarm bell started ringing when we named the same 23. Okay, there was a bit of swapsies between the bench and the starting in like two positions. But I wouldn't be surprised if we were the only team in the whole of Europe that had an unchanged 23 from the league game going into the cup game. And that, for me, that tells a story of where the Scarlet squad is at the moment and the players that Dwayne trusts. You know, the unchanged 23. Is there even 30 players in this team that Dwayne trusts that he would play given the choice? I'm not sure. So yeah, so that kind of, and when you saw the number of changes they were able to make, this is why, in my opinion, the Ospreys have got the strongest squad in Wales, because they're able to make that level of changes. They're bringing in the likes of Dewi Lake, of Jack Walsh in particular was a huge difference. Justin Siprick, yeah. So it was a different kettle of fish from them, and like you said, they clearly targeted the cup game and they got it over the line. And there were moments in that first half, in the second half of the first half, so in the second 20, that we got into their 22. And whereas the week previously we converted and we scored, in this week we didn't. And whether that's just down to them being fresher, them being more up for it, our big game was the week before. It is what it is. I'll be honest, Mark. I know that we discussed it, and you've got a slightly different point of view, but I just can't get that upset about this one, because for me, if we'd have beat the Ospreys, all that would have meant that we'd have gone to Lyon, away to Lyon the next week, and we'd have got absolutely smashed there, because I didn't see us giving Lyon a game in Lyon, and that would have just meant that we were completely destroyed. Like I said, we don't have the squad to compete on two fronts, and for us to then go away to Lyon, probably lose, and then come back again to try and get back on the horse for the URC, I just didn't see us doing that. So when we lost, okay, you don't like to lose games and the local derbies and things, but I just wasn't that. It just, in my head, we were just going to lose the next week anyway. And I know that's horrible and defeatist to say, but that's just why I couldn't get upset about it. If you gave me a choice between which game I'd have rather won, I would have picked the URC game every day of the week. And I know that's easy for me to say now, because it's the one that we did win, but just being honest.
Yeah, I agree with you there. If we were given a choice of which one to win beforehand, it would have been the league. Because let's be honest, there would have been one point where if we had won the EPCR game, we could have been travelling to South Africa to play the Sharks in the quarterfinals, and that would have been disastrous, because I know you'd get 30% of the gate, but I don't think 30% of the gate would have covered just the transport costs of getting us to South Africa, which would probably been around the £50,000 mark, given the short notice, etc. But yeah, it's more the performance that hurt me. Like, I can take losing. It's the manner of the loss and our own performance. That's what hurt me. I mean, if we talk about the squad, we've used 37 players this year, and I could probably quite easily say 10 of them are injury enforced. We wouldn't have used them otherwise. And that does get onto a wider issue of Dwayne and his squad. And, regardless if he trusts these players or not, if he doesn't at least try and play them, he's never going to trust them. So how are these boys meant to develop? And, we use Archie and Charlie as massive examples of how we use Carwyn Tuapolotu, who's now trainer up in France. Sam O'Connor, who...
Oh, that was the other thing that happened 2 weeks ago. Sorry, Carwyn scored his first try for Poe against Bath.
They did. Pretty good one. But, Bath are pretty good, so they didn't actually win that game, unfortunately. Yeah, so there's quite a lot of players that need meaningful minutes to develop. And I think Jack Price is another one. Just shooting him in for an odd start randomly throughout the season, it doesn't help development, and that's where my argument always comes from. Like you can only, if everyone stays fit, you can have a squad of 32 players and only use 32 players. But you can give every single one of them meaningful minutes. That includes, 3 of each of the front row, 3 of the halfbacks, 4 locks, etc., etc. So you are getting a fair spread, and you are actually developing those players. And if injuries do come, you just shift things around. You bring someone new in, blah 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 blah, and you work it that way. So that is where most of my disappointment comes from in terms of the performance in that game and the fact that Peel is not giving these boys the opportunity to develop. Because let's face it, both Archie and Charlie, if they're not ready, then you don't select them. You bring someone else in who can be an injury cover. Let's say Evan Jones, for example. And you just tell Archie, go play with Quins, go have a launch your championship side, same as with Titcombe. You could have just get Dinky back in or whatever, and not release him in the first place. And those boys would have had 20, 30 more games at this point in their career over the past 2 years. And that is massive in terms of any player, especially young players and at halfback. Just you learn more from playing than not from playing. And that's an issue that needs fixing, and it needs fixing instantly.
Yeah, the last thing that I'd say though is I didn't learn anything new from that game. There wasn't something that I was watching it like I've never seen us do that before. I'll tell you what I don't and is getting on my nerves is this stupid shuffly tap and go routine. Yes, I know we scored, but we've done the exact same identical tap and go routine 4 games in a row now. We've scored twice and we've very not scored the other, where Marnus stands by it and he looks around going, "Ooh, am I passing it to? Am I passing it to?" And then they all shuffle out one, and then Cowdor comes in, he taps it, and they pass it and things. Yes, I know we scored, but can we come up with a different tap and go move, please? Because it's the build up to it. It's the whole deception of like, I'm going to pretend that Marnus is going to tap it. And it's like, if they've watched any of our last 3 games, they know exactly what we're going to do. So it's just like the deception only works if you do it once, boys.
Yeah, you got to change it up, even if it's a case. Like, if it worked 100% of the time, or even close to 100%, you can understand that, because it is then a case of this is that good that people have to learn to defend it, but it's not.
You have to call it the shuffle of death.
You can call it whatever you want. Even if it's a case of, let's say, pick a random number every 2, every 3, every 4, whatever, every 2.5 or whatever. Marnus actually taps himself and goes, or Cowdor switches and passes the opposite direction. Just make something of it. Don't make it that predictable when it's not as successful as it needs to be. Whew. That was a lot. Okay, I'm pretty sure we had some form of agenda coming into this. What is there to talk about? There's really not that much.
Yeah, normally, if you leave it 2 weeks, there'd be some news, but we haven't had any news at all. Like, not even signings or signing rumours to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there has been a lot of news in Welsh rugby, which we will come to at another time. Is just too much to digest at the minute and really get a proper response to. But okay, let's should we talk a bit of age grade action. That's not the plan.
Yeah.
So I do apologize. It has been a couple of weeks since one of these games or two. So our Scarlets regional under-16s, they've now combined from East and West after a couple of games. They've had a couple of fixtures. So they went up to Colwyn Bay, resounding 57-19 win. Well done, boys. And they also went to St. Helens and got another victory, 32-31 against the Ospreys. So, well up the under-16s, fair plays. We're also at that time of year where the under-16 Six Nations. I'm really not well.
I was going to say, like, under-6s. I know you like to and get all the latest on the up and comers, Mark, but I think under-6s is stretching it a bit.
Yeah, WRU doesn't even cover that, man. They only started under-7s. Got to get your own insurance for that crap. Yeah, so the under-18 Six Nations Festival has kicked off. There's also been a few Wales under-19s games, which, quite frankly, I'm happy seeing. I like seeing, having these boys get game time. I do judge the under-19s timing with the end of the SRC. Kind of last couple of weeks there, then the playoffs, and they've decided, we'll just take a chunk of your boys away. So if I start on the 19s first, played against Ireland, lost 46-24. We had quite a few boys involved in this one. So we had Lewis Jones, who's a hooker, Jack Pritchard, tight head, Ocean Williams, back row, who picked up a try, Keanu Evans, another back row. We had Sean Jones, who was playing on the wing, and your favourite ever, Griff Watkins, in the centre. We also had Tom Phillips, loose head, on the bench, and fly half Steph Jack Jones on the bench.
How many Tom Phillipses are there in West Wales?
Probably a few. There's a few common names going round out there. So I can't even remember how many boys were named in the squad. But we got 8 in that game. So that's a brilliant representation for us in an age grade international. It's just unheard of for either us or the Ospreys to get probably more than 5, probably 4 more actually, in any sort of under 18s, under 19s, under 20s. It just doesn't seem to be the thing. So other game, they ran out 60 points to 7 winners against Italy. Different hooker, this time Jake Bowen. Jack Pritchard retained his tight dead spot. He got a try. Ocean Williams, Sean Jones at fullback this time. Then we had Steph Jack Jones and Keanu Evans on the bench. So again, 6 boys in this game. Switch out a hooker. And one thing I do have to say is we went for a long time. I think we signed Smiler. We'd always been good at producing our own hookers. And we had a nice steady feed. We had Ken Owens, Emmy Phillips, Ryan Elias, and it seemed to have died down a bit. So we went through the Exiles program. We got Isaac Young in. And within 2 years, we got 3 other boys right behind him. In Harry Thomas, Lewis Jones, and Jake Bowen, who've all got national age grade caps. So I don't know if it was the competition that spurred them on. But
Netherlands is the place to go for hookers.
It seems to be. It really seems to be. Well, Jake Bowen is Carmarthen and Lewis Jones is 10B, I believe. Could be wrong. Apologies if I am. So that does take us to the 18s. There has been female 18s festival as well. Their day 2 is tomorrow. They play either 30 or 35-minute matches. So in their first one, they lost 43-0 to France, but then they bounced back with a 21-7 win over Scotland. Another 2 shortened matches tomorrow to come. Tomorrow being Tuesday the 15th. The boys, so they kicked off this past Friday with a game against Ireland. These games are all covered live on YouTube, and you can go back and watch them all. So we've only got 3 boys involved with Wales 18s, which just goes back to my earlier point. We've got Nathan Davis, another tight head, Kai Jones, a lock, and the one and only fly half, Carwyn Lega-Jones. So first game, 32-24 winners over Ireland, under 18s level. People bang on about how good Ireland under 18s, under 19s, 20s, whatever it is are. We should have won by a lot more. There at least 3 tries left out there. And I think, don't know if I've recently watched the game today, so I don't know if it was this game or that game where we had a perfectly good try that was ruled out because we didn't have a TMO. But no, Kai Jones, I think I've actually sent it to you.
Yeah, you did.
Intercepts the ball halfway line and just legs it through.
Gallops. He's like Luke De Jager in Japan.
You've got the right wing chasing him down, and he only just about gets there as he crosses the line. So, fair play to Kai. He's done well, but there. Carwyn Lega-Jones, we all love him. We all can't wait to see him step up to SRC and then eventually Scarlets. Same with all these boys, actually. But not without his faults. He did make an odd mistake in this game, but his range of passing and kicking and the boot on the ball, the way he strikes it, he slotted like a 43-meter penalty with ease. If you look at a lot of under 18s, like he's only 17 now, you'll see the boys that are able to do that aren't able to do much else. They tend to be either one-trick ponies or they kind of they're slowly building up, but he seems to have a whole game, which is amazing for someone of his age and for the standard it seems to be at. The crossfield kicks he puts in, the little dinks over the top. It's so fun to watch him. And if you get a chance, just put it on. I can't remember when the last game against Italy is going to be, but we'll post it on our socials. And if you get a chance to watch it, just go do it, because it is a real treat to watch this kid play. So second game was today, Monday the 14th against Georgia, scraping this one 17-10. In all fairness, we made something about, I think we made like 9 or 10 changes to the 15. It's a 26-man squad. Everyone gets to play in this rolling subs. So, you keep it going, you keep it going. And Kai Jones was the only one who started this one. Obviously, Nathan Davis and Karen Leggett-Jones on the bench. And in that first game, Kai, he played completely differently. He was really just a threat in open play. In this game, he was such a nuisance at the line out. I mean, controlling ours, taking the ball, stealing a couple of opposition, and his maul defense, Jesus, he disrupted 2 or 3 on his own. So fair play to the kid. He looks a treat as well, and he's the same age as Karen, so he's 17. So I know I got a bit of rose-tinted glasses, goggles, whatever you want to call it, but if the likes of Kai and Will Evans do manage to come through, we got a pair of West Walian-based locks that are going to do us well for many a generation. So that breaks up my little age grade news. Do we bounce straight onto the community game?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So it's not quite 2 weeks of the community. I have saved a couple.
Oh, jeez, you're not going to give us 2 weeks worth of updates in one, are you?
No. I'm not that bad. I have kept a couple the cup final ones in there because it's cup final. You got to celebrate it no matter when you are.
True.
Okay, so start in the SRC, and Carmarthen Quins hosted Bridgend, 32-24 winners. Again, this could have been a fair bit more from what I've read in the match reports and just from following the game and the momentum of it. We had a lot of boys involved in this, and in fact, 22 of the 32 points were contributed by Scarlets contracted players, and the other 10 were from former Scarlets. So, boys, we had Callum, oh my God.
Yeah, Callum.
The wing, Callum Woolley, scored a try, happy days. Gabriel McDonald, he picked up a try himself.
He's getting some serious game time, Gabe McDonald.
He has. He's had a lot, and I know you saw him against Leicester pre-season. So,
has he been on a bench in the URC? Was he on the bench against Treviso or something?
Not this season. I'd have to have a look I don't think we've ever used him. I know he's been in all our development games, a few pre-season ones.
Yeah,
that's it. So the one and only Tits, Charlie Titcam, he grabbed himself 2 conversions and a penalty. Archie Hughes with a try himself. And Sean Evans, who was playing at 7. Don't know if that's a sign. There was also Ellis Price on the bench after starting the last couple of 10.
It's just typical Quins. When Charlie Titcombe plays, they win. Simple as that.
It is. I should really go back and have a look, but I think there's only one game he's played for Quins when they haven't won, and that was against the Drovers, and they came within 1 score. So it just tells you, if the score lines don't lie, when a team that has been as poor as Quins have been for the middle chunk of the season pull him in and they pull out a victory, even though they have been impressive the last 2 games before this. It does tell you the stature of the player. Don't spoil the narrative. Okay. Llandovery then. So 4th place Llandovery travelled to 1st place Cardiff.
Hey, everyone was talking about this. It was the talk of the town, this was.
It really was. So I'll start with the boys we had in the squad first. Everyone in the 15. We had Harry Thomas, Gabe Hawley, Morgan Jones, Ed Scragg, and Jack Davis, who bagged a try himself. Final score 48-43 in favour of the Drovers. But key to note, it was about 75 minutes in, it was 48-33. So the game was done and dusted. And the way the game started, Cardiff ran 14-0 up. So it was like, it's going to be one of them games because Llandovery, their starting 10, Johan Hughes, not even in the 23. Their backup 10, which is normally Jack Maynard, he was out at 15. So they brought in Sam Potter, who I think he's a second year into men's rugby. He's recently picked up a academy contract with the Dragons. He was in our junior academy from M and Huw. And, he's played it right. He was actually on the bench for Newport the week before. So he permitted his kid to Newport to go on the bench. And then he comes and starts. And the comeback was just unreal. I think it was like 27-26 at halftime. And then just whoosh, second half came on and Georgia control. And this was more or less a full strength Cardiff squad. You could argue a player or two here and there, maybe get some of the parachute players from, Cardiff Rugby. But in terms of their actual squad, this was probably 99% strength, at least from what we've seen throughout the season. And then with Drovers, there's a couple of boys who you think, you probably have him starting over them, like Harry Thomas and Gabe Hall. You're not starters. They don't start in the Drovers' strongest 23 at the minute. Harry probably will if he gets a bit of form going, but right now, still Taylor Davis and Barry and Watkins taking those spots. And obviously the 10 situation.
Is Gabe Hawley really not first choice for the Drovers, given he's played for the Scarlets a few times?
No, Barry and Watkins is still, at least as far as I'm aware. I don't know if Gabe has been on the bench, but obviously you get the directives from the clubs, the way to play these players, etc. So I wouldn't put Gabe as their first choice. I think, experience counts a lot, especially in the front row, especially as the two props. So you back experience more than anything. Same as it's really close when he's fit between Jamie Hughes and Josh Morse. Obviously, we haven't seen Josh at all this season, I don't think, which is, a different worry. But we'll come out. So, yeah, massive spanner in the works. That is fourth beaten first going into the playoffs, same as Newport beating Ebbw Vale on Sunday just gone. So form book is gone. The bookies have been torn to pieces. They're like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
Newport battered Ebbw Vale.
They did 40 points to 14. And I don't know how emotional it was because their president had just passed away, Brian Jones, in the week. I know Ebbw Vale had beaten Newport twice in the season, both at Eugene Cross. I do have to point that out. But this Ebbw have got 3 games in 8 days, which is horrific. So this game being on the Sunday, then a Wednesday, then a Saturday, that's their flow of, actually no, it's even less than that, 6 days, isn't it? Aberravon got the 8 days, I think. So anyway, they've had to pick and choose where their squad is going to go, where they think they're going to get. Obviously, it's a Gwent derby, and they went full hog. They went full strength for this, and they still got hammered. So this playoff series in the SRC is going to be mighty tasty.
Still more competitive than Bath versus Gloucester, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, much more competitive than that one. So that does bring us to this week's fixtures. So Llandovery are travelling to Bridgend, and Carmarthen are hosting Newport. Bridgend, Llandovery.
Tasty couple of fixtures, that.
Bridgend, Llandovery are the Thursday night game on S4C S4C, so you do get to watch it on the iPlayer or YouTube if you like, and I'm sure we all will be following that one. So, Premiership. Narberth 29-21 losers away to Neath.
That's not so bad.
Very, very respectful. Newcastle Emlyn 19-33 losers at home to Llangennech. Again, considering the season Emlyn have had, it's a respectful result. Fair play to them.
Hopefully there was a few turned up for that one, West Wales derby.
Yeah. Fixtures for this week. We've got a Wednesday fixture. We got Llangennech travelling to Newbridge. Then on to the weekend, we got Llangennech at home to Ystrad Narberth at home to Crosskeys, and Newcastle Emlyn travelling to Pontypridd. So that's going to be a tough one for the boys from Emlyn, to say the least. So we go into the Championship, and we will start with what happened the week before. It was a Championship Cup final. Llanelli Wanderers against Tondy. The boys done it 2 years in a row. Division 1 West, Division 1 Cup and West champions last season. This year,
everyone was talking about this game. Well, it was all over socials.
I literally, I was out with the family. I was actually watching the new Minecraft movie. Don't go. Not worth it. Even if you've got kids, just bin the kids before you go. So, yeah, 35-32. I think it was a try more or less at the death, which got Wanderers over the line. I was literally, I think we'd come out of the cinema and I was in, I can't remember what shop it was. But the missus had gone up. The missus had gone off with the kids, wherever it was, and I was just there. And it just, just a scream in the middle of the shop. Come on! It was just, I get so invested in these teams. It's unreal. But yeah, that was a great moment for the club, and obviously they can go on now and win Championship West if they want. And I say that if it's that easy, but Leslie Wanderers, it's got to be that easy. So fixtures this past week: M and Huw going down 24-23 away to Kenvic Hill. Wanderers back at it again, 40 points to 18 win at home to Estalavera, and Crymych going down 45-14 away to Trebanos. Things not looking good for Crymych. I do have to say that right now. Fixture this week, another Wednesday fixture. Wanderers are travelling to Maesteg Quins. Then on the weekend, we got M and Huw at home to Gassainan, Crymych at home to Tartar Steel, and Wanderers travelling to Glynneath. Wanderers
playing twice.
Yeah, they've got a lot of fixtures.
Are they? Is the league safe for the ones?
No, it's not safe. It's in their hands. I think they've got something like a 6-point advantage over Tartar Steel, so they can afford to drop, 5 points, say, and they'll still go on and win the league, courtesy of them beating Tartar in their last encounter, which again, epic. So we're into the lower divisions now, and their seasons are more or less wrapped up. These are vast majority replayed games. So One West, Buryport 53-30 winners at home against Hendy, and Wellinvold 55-7 winners at home against Pencloud. Fixtures for this week, we've got Wellinvold at home against Buryport and Hendy travelling to One Island. 2 West Central, Brynaman 22-15 winners at home against Mumbles, and they host Abercrave this weekend. 2 West and Whitland won 63-26 away to Betters. And Lampeter, already promoted Lampeter, I believe they've now been crowned champions, 55-26 winners at home to Lucha. So congratulations, Lampeter. You're going up to One West. That's going to be great for you and everyone around. Happy days. Fixtures for this week, we've got Milford Haven at home to Carmarthen Athletic, and Fishguard travelling to Nant Garedig. So Division 3, their cup semi-finals was this past week. Cardigan played Rimney down at Carmarthen and walked away 40-34 winners. Cardigan in the final. Get in there. Then over to the Brewery Field where Ticrois played Newport Saris and just fell short 31-29.
That's tough.
Unlucky boys. Ticrois have had an incredible season in the league, so it's a bit of heartbreaking. But I believe Newport Saracens won the Division 4 Cup last season. So really on a roll, very similar to Leslie Wanderers. So actual 3 West fixtures: Abereyron win 47-20 away to Kev Nathan. Haverfordwest win 36-14 at home against Pontyberem. Fixtures for this week: we got Cardigan at home to Pontyberem, Ticrois at home to Am United with a chance to secure the title. And the other game is second versus third. Tumble at home to Abereyron, their last games of the season. There's 1 point between them. It is winner takes all. If you're going to any game this weekend that isn't Judgement Day, Tumble and Abereyron, that is the one you want. It's going to be epic. They couldn't have written this any better. So, 4 West A, Llanybudder against Narberth Athletic has been postponed. Champions Neyland 54-10 winners at home to Pembroke. Midweek game Wednesday, Neyland at home to St David's, and then on the weekend, Narberth Athletic away to Pembroke to Harlequins. That Llanybudder Narberth game is then the only game left to be played in the division. 4 West B, champions New Dock Stars, Who's New Dock Stars, 36-22 winners away to Penn Bank. Trimsaran 32-22 winners away to Pontiates. Nice little derby day win there, and Tregaron losing 5-25 at home to Llandibby. Friday night fixture this week, we got Trimsaran at home against Furness. And then the following week is from Saran against Llandybie, and that is the it for 4 West B. Again, this is the week late, but there was a little thing such as the WRU Youth Cup finals on week Friday ago, I want to say. So Llandailo against Pontypool United, 2 undefeated teams this season. Llandailo reigning cup champions. I'm trying to remember what the score was going into the last minute. I think it was Pontypool 20, Llandailo 19. And with the last kick of the game, Llandailo just slotted it through. Double champions, going undefeated. They've still got the Carmarthenshire Cup final to look forward to. Absolutely amazing for them. And that brings us to the end of your community roundup. And yeah, so, good feelings these last couple of weeks. Couple of bad ones, a few teams getting relegated, etc., etc. But majority of them already kind of knew that. It's only really the Premiership and Championship that haven't been decided yet due to the nature of them having 13 teams instead of the random 10 or 9 in the lower leagues. But yes, good couple of weeks in the community round. It is really interesting.
Lots of good news stories around there, Mark. I enjoyed it. Unfortunately, no, I've got to tell you about a bad news story now.
Bad news story? What can we have a bad news story about?
We've had a letter.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
It's from Jack from Lucker.
How did I know?
He says this. Will you come to my birthday party?
Ooh.
The guest list is heading towards 10,000.
Bloody hell, you could have warned me for that one.
So there really is no excuse. Yours, Jack from Lucker. What do you say, Mark? Do you want to go to Jack from Lucker's birthday party?
I mean, if he's going to cover transport and everything, maybe a bit of food, drink, yeah, I'll consider it. It'd be nice to put a face to a name as well. Gotta be honest.
Yeah. Where do you think it is?
Ooh, it's not going to be as far east as Lacha. It's definitely going to be a little bit further. It's probably going to be a bit further west than Binya as well. I think it's going to be creeping closer and closer. Maybe somewhere around Trostra. I don't know. I think that's probably sounds about right.
Well, that's the thing is he said come to my birthday, but he hasn't put a dress on, so we're just going to have to go wandering around Lucker. Nobody wants to do that.
No, not at night either. Did he put a time? If he's put a time, it's a trap. Okay, so we do have one more thing to discuss, and it is Judgment Day and the end of the season. So, before we do get into this Judgment Day malarkey, you went last season, so you can tell us more about that in a minute, if you really want to rehash all that sad story. We've got 4 games left. We're still in a shout of the top 8. So, Dragons, Millennium, Leinster at home, and then away against Lions and Sharks. So mathematically, we're still in there. Do we have a shout?
Yeah, there's always a chance. We'll talk about the Dragons more in depth in a bit. Leinster are going to send the C team to play us because they've got the semi-final against Northampton the week after.
Correct.
So we're not even going to get the Geordie Barrett All-Stars. We're going to get... you're going to be Googling the names, basically. We might get the Charlie Tector and friends.
Yeah, so long as no one promises that Geordie Barrett's going to be on the field in exchange for selling tickets, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay as well. So, look, we've got a chance. Look, Leinster have lost 1 game all year, and it was away at the Bulls. So
we beat the Bulls.
We are better than the Bulls. So, look, there's a chance. We've got to give them a game. We'll preview it. I don't want to steal all the things I've got to say in the next week's pod. But yeah, so there's that. And then the trip down to South Africa. I actually think that stylistically we might be an okay matchup for the Lions.
Yeah.
Because they want to counter-attack and we don't like having the ball. So they can't score off turnovers if we don't have the ball. So I think that there's a chance in that one. Sharks, depends. Sharks, it's whether they have top 4 sewn up by then or not. Sharks are by no means the 4th best team in the URC. I'm not even sure they're in the top 10, but somehow they're 4th in the league. And if they've got top four safe because they're competing against Munster, and Munster ain't it. Munster ain't it. I'm sorry.
No.
They're really not very good. So,
Caelan's not going to be happy with you.
no, I know. Well, they've already beaten us. So what are you going to do? Beat me again? So they've
Not like Muttley by you, man.
no. What if the Sharks have got top four sewn up by the last game of the season? Then they might rest players because then they'll be getting ready for the game on the next week, and there's a chance. If not, they might go full noise, and then I actually think, and I don't mind putting this on record, I actually think the Scarlets are better coached than the Sharks. It's just that their players are like 80% of the Springbok team that won the World Cup. So there's that. So yeah. So that's a long-winded way of saying the season ain't over.
A very long-winded way of saying that. So yeah, I think 9-10 points would be enough for top 8. With a couple of other results going for us.
We want Cardiff to beat the Ospreys, don't we?
Do I want Cardiff to beat the Ospreys? Let me just check my little score sheet. Actually, I'm not bothered. As long as the Ospreys lose one of the next 2 games, I'm not bothered. I think Dragons is probably... as long as the Ospreys lose one of those games, I'm not bothered. Because realistically, Cardiff are not winning any of their last 3. I don't think. Then again, Munster could, shit the bed. And if they do that, Sharks really have got top 4 sewn up really nice and early.
Mm.
And then that would put the Ospreys fixture into consideration. Oh my God, you've convoluted things.
No, I'm sorry.
My little predictor has gone to hell and back. So yeah, leave it there. No, I would love to think that we've got those 9 points sorted by that final fixture. If we haven't, much different prospect. Absolutely different prospect. So yeah, it's tough. Okay, so Dragons Judgment Day. It's back at the Millennium where it belongs.
I went to the one at Cardiff City Stadium last year. It was crap.
Yeah, and that is the full report. End of. It was crap.
We won the game though.
No one wants to lack with. Really, no one. So that brings us on to Dragons, and yeah,
we've got a stinking record against the Dragons at the stadium.
Yeah, that is initially. I think a certain other podcast in this family had a little interview had Jason Tovey on, and they put up his little kick to be just like 32-31, something like that. And I was like, yeah, how?
Even when we win, we play badly.
Yeah, it's really weird how they have that ability with us, and it's so strange. Like, I don't know their European record. Obviously, it weren't that great because they didn't make the round of 16. But I'm sure that's 2 wins in the entire season.
Yeah, Ospreys day 1, and then Newcastle.
So
Newcastle away. That's how bad Newcastle are. Sorry, Dragons.
Yeah, really, really sorry. We don't mean to. I do actually like their podcast. Fair play. Little shout to
I do as well. Yeah.
Any non-Scarlets that are listening to this one, I'm sure there's a few of you. Check out the Dragons ones. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, we can't lose against the Dragons. That literally would.
Yeah, sorry for not doing a proper in-depth deep dive on the Dragons, but the bottom of the league then won since round 1 of the season. There's not much. It's not tons to analyse. What I will say is, everyone goes on about talent and playing staff and things of the Dragons, and all right, it's not exactly the Galacticos down there, but the coaching is a much bigger problem for them than playing staff, in my opinion. They need. I think it was a big mistake to get rid of Di Flan. I'll say it now.
100%.
And I think they need 2 extra assistant coaches in there to help Philo.
Yeah. So this is something we've come across ourselves with Peel, is you need X amount of assistant coaches. So obviously Philo came in as defense coach. He's now head coach. So is he doing half head, half defense? What is he doing? It's the same with us and our attack and defense. We got 2 coaches between head, attack, and defense. So how are you managing that, and what are we seeing on the field?
We haven't got a backs coach, technically.
No, I mean, and that's why I wouldn't mind bringing Di back. I know I think his whole coaching career was with us before he went to the Dragons. So I think he's a great coach. Head coach maybe a step too early, similar for Peel, possibly, but I didn't think he was doing a bad job. I didn't think he was doing a bad job at the Dragons to deserve to be sacked. That's another story. But yeah, they've got good players. They've got a good squad. They get I mean, just look, I can't criticize their best 15, 23, even a squad, because they're all at an acceptable standard. It's just, I think it is, and everyone has said it is a mental problem down there. So how do
Except
they
against
overcome
us
that?
in the stadium for some reason.
Yeah, so how do you overcome that for 16 of the 18 URC games a season? And that's their challenge, because I'm looking at the Dragons. I'm looking at, they've got nothing to play for. Obviously, when you've only won one game all season, you shouldn't have anything to play for. You got Huw Anderson at fullback, who's he's been really good. Not a finished article by any means. And, I'm not even going to tout him to go on the Wales tour, because obviously we haven't got many boys going with the Lions. Otherwise, another time he probably would have. So there's also another boy who's been doing awesome for Wales 20s and with Ebu Vale, Harry Weldon. I personally think he should be in their 15 now for the end of the season. What harm is he going to do? You want to give these boys minutes. It's the same with Harry Thomas for us. If it weren't for a fact that we were in the same position we are now, like last season as we are now, or whatever way around it is, I'm being very convoluted again. Sorry. Because I called for it last season that we should have been given Sock, Jack Price, Archie, Carwin. Well, Carwin was already in there because of the injuries. Charlie. Game time should just be start down, because we got nothing to play for. Give these boys minutes, let them develop. And I think that's what the Dragons should be doing with as many, probably 4 of the senior academy players, especially someone like Harry Weldon, Evan Minto, coming off a good under-20s, a good bit of form, especially after that England game. Just get them right in there. Get them in there, let them experience it. Don't let them drop back to SRC and get comfortable with that again. Push them up to keep them pushing, because that's something that I think we've always struggled with. We've always struggled with turning our age grade stars into full-time professional stars, even as just professional players. I know, and that's something that needs to be addressed. So for me, it's a case of like scaffolding. You're on a ladder. You've just stepped up to this level. Okay, we want to at least keep you there, but majority of the time these boys have got nowhere to go, so they take that step down, and then they get used to it, and then they've got to go up 2 rungs to the next level. There's no middle ground. So, and it's same for Harry Thomas. I'd love for Harry Thomas to be involved with us. I want Harry Thomas to start against Leinster. I want, same as Archie, Charlie, all our young boys that we think are going to be in that first team squad next season. You're going to be, 3rd choice hooker, 4th choice lock, 5th choice back row, whatever one it is. Archie and Charlie obviously involved in this. I'd like for these boys to be given an opportunity where they can. And if for whatever reason top 8 has somehow magically disappeared by the South Africa trip, no better place. Bloody deep end. Flames are blazing. Just chuck them in, see how they do. Because they need to have that. They need to have it consistently more than anything. And that has been one of my big arguments with these boys. You can't just give them 1 start here, 2 starts there, 3 starts there. It needs to be a planned and consistent progression. If I go to on my little what was it called? I can't remember what it's called now. What's the spreadsheet? That's the one. I got it in the end. I don't know if I've added in the previous game, because I've been quite lazy and unwell. So we got Jack Price involved with 9 games this season, and we've played 18. So you're thinking he's been involved with half the games. That's brilliant. But then you look at the actual minutes he's played on the bench appearances, how sporadic the starts are. Then you look at other ones. Obviously, Carwin only had the 1 bench appearance for us before he left, and he was on that bench another 2 times. I was going to say, yeah, looks like 2 times. And then you got Evan Jones, Archie Hughes, Charlie Tidcombe. The time they've been on the bench and not been used, or they've been used for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, it doesn't develop players by having that. You need at least, I would say, 25 minutes, especially as a young player. Once you're 25, you've got 2-3 years of that consistent game time. We know the standard of player you are. That's when you can go on the bench. Okay, if you might not need to play, we'll bring you on for the last couple of minutes just to make that bit of oomph, that bit of energy to see us out the game. You don't do that with young players, especially unestablished young players. And I know I'm beating around the same bush here, but it's just a problem we have, and I really hate seeing it because it kills me looking at it. So I can't imagine what the players must be going through, especially the likes of, I think Charlie is not by far, but the worst of the lot. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Evan Jones is more. Sorry. So here we go. Evan Jones 7 times on the bench and not been used. Titcombe 4 times. Archie just the once. But then you look at those minutes those boys have had. Archie's had like 2 minutes. He's literally had 2 minutes in one game. How is that helping anybody? It's not helping the player.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've been talking about all season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should really think about predictions.
I mean, we got to win. It's got to be 5 points, hasn't it? I mean, this is the one of our last 4 games that you have to go. No, this one's non-negotiable. So I don't know. It needs to be Scarlets by 15, really.
When we won by 16 against the Ospreys, and it was a decent Ospreys, as in a decent 23 that was named. You got to think we should be able to at least match that against whatever Dragons 23 that comes up against that. So yeah, I'm with you, but they're 15 plus. We've anything less than that is something's messed up a bit.
Yeah, I will be there though. I'm planning to be there. So if you do see me, I'll be the guy wearing a hat. So come and say hello. And yeah, hopefully we get a good game out of it. We're second up. We're the second on the roster.
So what I'm going to say is, are you going to even make it into the stadium if you're only wearing a hat?
That
was that. Oh my god, that laugh. That was no.
So, some of the characters they let in there, I'm sure I'll be the least of their worries.
I don't know if I've actually said this on the pod, but Wales Scotland a few years ago, and my youngest was literally an itty bitty batty baby. So I think she was about 2 months old. Oh, it might have been a different kid. No, it was definitely her. Yeah, so she was 2 months old. She was a preemie. She was 2 months early. So it was around about the time she should have actually been born, but she was like 8-9 weeks. And the missus had her, in one of them straps over her, and then I'd coat over. And obviously, she's walking. You can obviously tell that figure's not right. There's something going on there. Just walked straight through everything, and then got stopped like the second or third, I think, just before we actually went through this whole, gone through all security, checking about her. It's like, what's that? Like, it's a baby. It was shocking how bad that security was.
Careful, we're going to have to cut that out. That's what I got in trouble for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to cut that out. So we got a baby through security. That's the main takeaway from that. Which I guess is no harm in it at the national ground, but you never know. You never know. Okay, I think that wraps us up for this week. We all good?
All good, mate.
All good. So thank you for listening to us. If you've made it this far, please like, share, subscribe, share with a friend, comment, reviews, everything under the sun. It really does help, and it lets us know that we're not speaking to thin air out there. So Huw, as always, thank you for joining me, and we'll do this all again, celebrating a nice 5-pointer against the Dragons next week.
Hooray!
Bye.
That was Saucepans and Sidesteps. Please rate, review and share on socials if you can, and join us again next week for more of the same. And until then, enjoy your rugby.
podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.